The Retro Quilter, and today I'm going to show you how to make a checkered block like this using the strip piecing method. All right, I have got all my strips cut. It does not matter what size your strips are. The principles for strip piecing are the same. So before I begin sewing, because I'm not going to backstitch, I'm actually going to lower the stitch length on my machine. So I've set it to 1.8. You can set it to whatever you're comfortable with, but essentially I'm lowering the stitch length so we don't have any unraveling because we are not going to be backstitching. So here we go, let's start sewing. I am not a salvage person. I know some of you will probably be very upset that I've cut this salvage. But I actually utilize keeping the salvage on in this case, so it helps me keep track of what end I have started sewing on. So I'm going to do salvage to salvage, right sides together, and I'm going to start sewing these together. All right, I've got the first two strips together. So I've gone ahead and pressed my seams open. You absolutely can press to the side and continue that way. That's personal preference. Now, I have used a 1/4 inch seam. It's what we tend to do as quilters, no different here. I had mentioned the salvage. So when I'm going to add on my next piece, okay, I'm still going to line everything up, salvage side, but because I started on this end previously, I'm going to go all the way down here and I'm going to sew on the non-salvage end. And why am I doing this? To prevent bowing. So when you are doing a lot of long strips like this, especially if you were to say do a quilt that's like even my stellar pattern where you have a lot of strips, if you were to do all your sewing starting from the same side, it would eventually bow and you'd get this slight curve, which you don't want. And this is just a really simple way to prevent that. Just switch your sides and you'll be all set. So I'm going to add on my next two strips, press my seams open, and we'll continue from there. Now, since we are making a checker block that's 4 squares across and 4 squares down, we need to have 4 strips. An alternative way to do this strip piecing is to sew two sets of 2 strips together like this, and then sew these together. Now you're still going to want to alternate sides, so I've sewn both of these salvage end first, so when I sew this set together, I'll be coming all the way down here to this end and sewing on this end to start. All right, let's move on to cutting. Okay, I have got my 4 strips together. I've pressed everything open, or you can press to the dark side, whatever you prefer. And now it's time to cut. Now, whatever size strips you have, so if you are, say, using a jelly roll and you have 2.5 inch strips, typically you're going to cut 2.5 inch strips vertically. Okay, so let's start here. I'm going to start by cutting off my salvage. Don't hate me, salvage friends. Okay. Now, one thing that I try to pay attention to when I am cutting is to line up my ruler or line up my seams with my ruler or my cutting mat to make sure that everything is still straight. Okay, so I'm going to there we go. Our first strip set. Isn't she pretty? Okay, so I'm going to continue on and cut the rest of my strip set here. Okay, so now I have all these lovely strip sets, and this is now when we're going to make our checkers. All we're going to do is flip them so that our colors alternate and line up our seams. Pin. Now, once again, you can do this one strip at a time, as we did with our initial strips, or you can sew them in sets, right? So you could have 2 sets sewn together and then sew them, or you could say have that sewn and then just keep adding on. Up to you. I like to chain piece, so I'm probably going to get a bunch of these set and just run them through my sewing machine. Okay, here's my checkered block. Isn't she pretty? The same principles are for any kind of strip piecing really, or if you want to make a 9 patch, so that could be for an Irish chain, what have you. That's how you do it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you found this helpful. And until next time, keep it quilty.